What would we do with a drunken sailor? What would we do with a drunken sailor? What would we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Way, hey, and up she rises, way, hey, and up she rises, way, hey, and up she rises early in the morning. Shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor early in the morning. Way, hey, and up she rises, way, hey, and up she rises, way, hey, and up she rises early in the morning.
Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to Sea of Thieves, a game that sometimes makes you feel like a South African armored car driver, except with more motion sickness and 12-year-old screeching. Seriously though, if you've watched any videos of this game, you'll know how intense and toxic things can get here, especially in PvP arenas, and it does make you wonder if it's even possible for a little noob such as yourself to ever enjoy this experience. Well, let me tell you, with these 8 noob commandments I'm about to drop, you'll learn to avoid a lot of trouble, how to deal with predators, and even maybe you'll come to enjoy the game, if you're lucky. This is not a tutorial. For an ultimate beginner's guide, I would recommend you check out Happy Kraken X's videos. She's made very useful technical guides. I'm gonna put a link down below. My video is more about using psychology to improve the solo adventuring experience, particularly if you find yourself constantly at the bottom of the ocean. If you do enjoy these tips, don't forget to like and subscribe, and do let me know in the comments below if there's anything you would do differently. Anyway, here's the first commandment: know thy server. Before hoisting that emissary flag and loading up your ship with thousands worth of juicy loot, it might be better to start small. Go on a recon run, pull a treasure map or something similar, and test the waters. Actively look for players in these early stages, particularly in the wilds or around the Reaper's hideouts, and see if people in your server are the kind to attack on sight. Always keep an eye on the map, not just of the area you're in, but every now and again check out the movement of visible Reaper's Bones players or other objects moving around the map. This information will determine where to go to avoid unnecessary attention. If there's a lot of activity in the Reaper's hideout, then go to the Devil's Roar. There's usually nobody around there because I guess nobody likes the vents and volcanoes. I rarely have any interactions with players over there, but maybe it's because I'm low level, I'm not sure. Second commandment: be vigilant and prepared. Keep your eye on the far horizon while sailing, but more importantly, when you arrive and before departing a location. Are there boats parked nearby, perhaps at the outpost you plan on going? Then maybe go somewhere else, especially if you have a lot of valuables. You can see surprisingly far in the game, and spotting other players' ships is a good way to determine whether it's safe to move loot around or not. Also, try to always have a rowboat on you. They're really handy, especially if you get sunk by the environment. Krakens, sharks, or freak accidents happen all the time, so make sure you have lots of wood and food on you to repair and to keep your health bar up, and keep your water barrels full in case of any fires. Third commandment: don't stand out. If you're a noob like me, it's best to keep a low profile. Don't present yourself as a juicy target, and I'm talking less about how you decorate your ship and more about how you behave out there. Generally, keeping your deck and map room lamps off will make you less visible to other players by removing those glowing orbs that are very, very visible from far away, especially at night. If you're a nervous Nelly, you can also hide your loot below deck. I know that seasoned players will pile all their stuff on the top deck and will tell you that hostile players will attack whether they see loot on you or not. And it's also true that loading and unloading becomes a lot easier when it's all in one place in the top deck. Plus, it's also harder to get anything stolen from you if it's all visible there right in front of you. But do keep in mind that I've left people alone because I had nothing glowing on deck, and chased someone else for 20 minutes because they did. So, you know, to each their own. The way I found to mitigate risk and frustration as a solo is to make sure I'm never packing too much loot at any given time. And I also avoid missions that force me to spend long periods of time away from my ship, like Siren's Shrines for example, unless I'm like really certain that I'll be left alone. I think you should only ever be carrying as much as you're prepared to lose at any given time. I sail back to port usually with 5 to 10 items on board. That ensures that if I do go down, I won't feel like I wasted hours of my life for nothing. Moving around a lot also has the advantage of helping you scout. If new ships have entered your area, it also presents more opportunity for you to find stuff out there, like shipwrecks with goodies in them, because you're moving around, so you might see more things going on. Fourth commandment: use psychology. As a solo and possibly a noob, you are at a fighting disadvantage, so It's not worth shooting first, or getting into duels, or running PvP arena missions unless you have nothing to lose. It doesn't mean you can't win or do well during a hostile encounter, but managing sails, using cannons, and defending yourself at the same time sucks, especially against multiple players. You can be winning at one moment and then become a shipwreck in a matter of seconds. Also, when PvPing in the battle for the Sea of Thieves, you'll often run into just Giga Chads, so just steer clear of that unless you want a challenge deliberately. By default, people are somewhat as wary of you as you are of them. So if you find yourself being observed by another player, it's important that you don't appear nervous or scared. This means sometimes like even going directly towards an opponent instead of evading. You can do a flyby, playing the banjo, fully visible, and see what happens. You might even scare the other person into running away by charging directly at them. And if you feel the noose tightening, you can also preemptively diffuse potential conflicts by using your megaphone. That first pass is a really important pass. That will determine the rest of your engagement. So try to be funny and weird about it. Ask them questions and act a little shady. But don't plead for your life, don't try to bargain or act like you're scared. Predators might leave you alone if they think you're funny or strange. They might be like, oh, what's this cute thing? And if they see that you're a solo and they're nice guys, they might actually totally just let you pass. Fifth commandment: be quick and clever. If you do find yourself being chased, remember, more sail equals more speed, less sail equals more turning capability. Max speed isn't always what you need. You can also do an anchor U-turn, but never forget, being static is essentially a death sentence. You're a literal sitting duck. And life is a lot better if you have a Horn of Fair Winds, so do try to grab one of those whenever possible. They're very handy when you have to sail against the wind. Also, during a chase, try your best to slow down your opponents however possible. You can box them in, put them between you and an island so that they have nowhere to go. You can use islands and rocks as obstacles, do unpredictable things like sail towards an NPC ship or a kraken or a shark, or go towards areas that are dangerous around volcanoes, or go into storms and fog. Just to try to get away. You should use the terrain and the winds to your advantage and try not to panic. But do keep in mind, pirates are very persistent. They are coming after you and they will likely not let go. And so if you find that you're not getting away, you might have to... Sixth commandment: fight like hell. If running is no longer an option, then give them hell. If you've been running a while, they might not expect you to attack first, so try and take the element of surprise. Pick an attack position that gives you the advantage and go to town. Use everything you got for as long as you got it, especially that good ammunition. There's no point in hoarding that. Try to hit them with an anchor ball to immobilize them, do a drive-by and throw fire bombs and skeleton grenades at them, and you should cause as much chaos as you can and then try to board them to prevent them from repairing or run away, whatever is easiest. There are many ways to get nasty, and I encourage you to be as fierce as possible always. Don't roll over and let them steamroll you. Seventh commandment: recognize defeat early. If you do find yourself losing, quickly come to terms with that fact, resign to your fate, and see if there's anything else you can do. Try to board an enemy ship and steal any loot they might have, or run off and bury your most valuable treasure. Sneak in and pop a couple firebombs on their ship, then fight like hell and enjoy trying to get a little payback watching them scramble. The harder you fight and the more things you try, the better fighter you'll become. So there's nothing to lose. Also, the harder you fight, you might even gain the enemy's respect, and perhaps a consolation prize, or even better, you might make new friends. So don't be demoralized or run away from a fight. This is just an opportunity to try different things. And then the final and eighth commandment: pay attention to your own psychology. If all is lost, remember this is only a game, so try not to moan about it or complain or whine to your opponent. That shit is embarrassing. You're most likely playing against children or a solo, so if you are winning, don't be a douche either. It's okay to gloat and bully people a little, but don't be a dick. There's too much toxicity out there already as it is, that you don't need to contribute to that. People are very toxic, they are very nasty, and you don't want to be a part of that. Ultimately, obtaining loot in Sea of Thieves is not hard at all, and sinking a ship is cool and everything, but it happens all the time, so winning or losing an engagement is a little bit irrelevant. Of course, losing will sting your pride a little, and if you lose some loot, it might feel like you wasted time, but that's where carrying only what you're willing to lose is a good strategy. Being a solo basically means you should always be prepared to be sneaky, to fight, and invariably eventually to lose a few. That's kind of the way it is. Like, if you get lucky, you get to take everything home, and if you don't get lucky, you just have to to go and do that again. It's good to like set expectations with yourself so that you don't become bitterly disappointed. Obviously, like, you're gonna rage quit now and again, but like, who cares, right? Like, if you can get back to the same level of loot that you had 2 minutes ago, it doesn't really matter. PvP is a huge part of this game, and it's just a natural counterpart to the other aspect of this game, which is the accumulation of wealth. So there's not much else to do in the game anyway, so for there to be predators, there also has to be prey. As a solo, you're basically prey, but only you can determine what kind of prey you are. You can be a chunky loot pinata that is complaining and whining and begging, or you can be a fierce chihuahua and give him hell and make him regret touching you in the first place. You never know, you know, you can win. So on that note, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.